What's up, Squadron? Aviation has given me a ton of amazing experiences.
Good job there. Nice rock, high wing.
But more importantly, it's introduced me to a whole new family of friends.
Like, dude, you're killing it. You're having a great day.
So just never give up.
Airport, and then, oh, by the way, I got carb ice while I was flying through, so the engine started running rough. I had to
Join us tonight as we're cleared direct for some hangar flying. I am Bryon Bowman, and this is SuperAero Live.
That's a lot. I mean, a lot of cookies. What's up, Av Geeks? Oh, the mic is hot again every day, every time I work it. It's a little different. Super pro. It's Wednesday, which can only mean one thing. It's time for SuperAero Live. Did you join us on Friday? Did you see the Osh 22 debrief with Eric Johnson and Just Plain Silly? That got a little silly. Aaron even joined us. It was pretty great. And our guest tonight was in the chat. We're going to introduce him in a second. But first, I got to say hi to all of you at home. James Hyatt's here. 72 Papa's here. Who else is here? Jason Follas. Hanger Tales is here. Hanger Tales. By the way, were you at Osh 22? Did you see the old snow ag plane on Boeing Plaza? That's got a family connection to our boy Hanger Tales in the chat right there. Little trivia for you. Let's see. Scrolling through. Bearded Aviator. Great to see you. That's a new name. Ken Dodson's here. Who else is here? Oh, scrolling. Flight Express. Hey, SuperAero. Hey, Flight Express. How you doing? I think I saw 72 Papa trying to summon Aviation's Hobgoblin in the chat. Let's not do that. We don't need that. Uncle Mike, welcome. Check 6 Aviation, welcome. Sorry we didn't cross paths at Osh. Yeah, me either. Zach Sherman is here. So yeah, Zach Sherman's digging the thing. My wife got this for me. My wife and kids got that for me for Christmas. I finally got it hooked up there. Anthony Castellani. Great to have you in the chat too. Sarah McCalvy's here. All right, enough names. Let's get down to business. Check it out. The fire pilot's here.
What up? Hey, Bryon Dembroski on Just Plain Aero. It's really great to be here.
Yeah, you nailed it. Hashtag #Brown nailed it. How you doing, man? Thanks for joining us on Wednesday.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I'm gonna do great. Just hanging out. I'm excited to be here. Appreciate you having me on. Pumped to get started, man.
Yeah, and I just noticed you will find I get distracted by the chat a lot. Bearded Aviator, I want to apologize. He said, new name, I'm just quiet. Well, I'm sorry, man. Thank you for watching all these times, however many times. It's great to have you. Okay, so where do you want to start? Because we got a lot to talk about.
There's so many things. I don't know, man. You drive this show. That's all right. I'll just be co-pilot here. You do your thing.
All right, that's fair.
I'm at your beck and call.
That's fair. I just realized I got to find a photo to show everyone because you and I met at Osh 22 for the first time, and the bromance was immediate. Yeah. I got to scroll through some photos here to find one to show everybody. But let's start where we normally start on this show, which is tell us a little bit about how you found aviation, how you found airplanes.
You know, I grew up in the mountains of eastern Kentucky, and I grew up really poor. I mean, relatively poor, I would say. And you know, I never imagined that aviation was something that I could be part of. You know, I'd look up between the two mountaintops that were, that we lived between, and I'd see airplanes all the time. And I thought that was the coolest thing. But, you know, financially, I didn't know people who flew in airplanes, let alone people who actually were flying airplanes. It was just something crazy to me. And so, you know, fast forward, got a family, and, I started the fire service, that sort of thing. And about 4.5 years ago at this point, my wife, she said, you need a hobby. You need to go get a hobby. And so I went and started flying airplanes. I'd always, obviously all of us, who doesn't love airplanes, but I'd always, had a fascination with them, but I just thought it was always out of reach. And then I called around and found a private instructor. And I said, hey, what's up? And then again, 4 or 5 years ago, he said it was $135 an hour, dual instruction, the plane, everything. And I said, yeah, I can afford 1 hour of that. Let's go try this out. And 8 hours into the training, here I am, and I actually bought the airplane. He said he was thinking about selling it, and
Okay.
I knew after the first couple of hours, I was hooked. I was done. It was what I wanted to do. By hour 8, before I soloed, I bought the damn thing. I knew I was that far in, and so fast forward, now we fly a 310. So that's it. That's the whole story.
Can I just say, props, no pun intended, to your wife for
right.
trying to encouraging you. That's awesome. And then 2, 4 years is feels quick. Feels kind of quick to get to 310ville.
Yep.
Sorry, it's just like it's like wow. That's
No, I
that's a
bought
lot.
a 150 and I stepped inside, and then when I got out, I stepped into a 310, and here we are. So no story in between at all.
Yeah, there was nothing in between at all. That's really cool. So talk to me a little bit about let's jump to the 310, and I think I might have a picture of it. I'm going to double check while you chat. What? So not a lot of people on the show fly twins that come on our show. I'm curious about how you went from you hinted at it from 150 to 310, because I think a lot of us end up going like maybe 150, 172, and then there's like some other like 2 or 4 seat thing, single engine. How'd the 310? What was the path to the 310 like?
Yeah, so we bought that 150, and I flew it all around Kentucky. I flew that thing everywhere, over the mountains, just for fun, all that kind of stuff. But I knew that it wasn't a family traveling machine. It would, I'm a big old boy, as we say here in the mountains, and I knew it barely, with 3 hours of fuel, 21 gallons of fuel, it barely held me. We were almost overweight just with me in there. But I knew that we would definitely be overweight with, my wife or for sure, our son. So we said we need a family airplane. And so I looked around and I said, let me look. I ended up on buying a Piper Arrow. There she is. Such a beaut. But I went from a 150 to a Piper Arrow. So I got some retract time. It's complex, but not high performance, because it's exactly 200 horse. And so we flew that thing around for, I think, 2 years. And I did some avionics upgrades in it. And then we were flying down to Tampa. We had a good friend who lives down in Tampa, a buddy I graduated high school with, and some other friends were already down there. And so we flew down to Tampa. It was 5 hours nonstop. That was the absolute farthest she would go. And it had no autopilot. And I knew at 5 hours with no autopilot, if that's what we're trying to do as a mission, this is not the plane for us. I made a mistake. When that same trip, taking off from Albert Whitted down in just outside of Tampa, it was probably an 82 degree day, and the density altitude, that was the first time I really learned about density altitude. That's like a 32, 3,400 foot runway, whatever it may be. And at about if it's 3,200, let's say 3,150 feet, my wheels were barely off of the ground. Not smart, not good. The most scared I've ever been in aviation to this day. Well, so after that, we started looking at something that would maybe fit the mission. And I said that I wanted to go to the Bahamas. I wanted to go over water, and my family lives in the mountains, and I want to go there at night. And so a single engine just kind of would work, but a twin engine would work better. And then, I found and fell in love with the Cessna 300 series, 400 series aircraft. I mean, the lines, the design, the tanks, they look like missiles. That thing just looks like it wants to go fast. And who doesn't want to go fast? The maintenance we planned for it, all that. The fuel, we planned for it, but I underestimated it quite a bit. That hurts. So that's,
Okay.
I mean, that's basically it. That's kind of the deal. We went from a 150 to an Aero to the 310, and I'll tell you, to this day, just last week, just last month rather, before Osh, I crossed over the 500-hour mark, and I've not spent 1 hour inside of a 172. Not 1 hour.
It's funny. I used to, before I became a 172 owner, that was I had a little badge of honor there too. I was like, oh, like this is cool. Like I've never flown a 172 and I never planned to. And then someone's like, hey, do you want to buy a 172? And I was like, heck yeah, I do.
Why not?
It's nice.
Yeah.
So people in the chat, by the way, Richard Keys says the 310 is a sexy machine. 72 Papa says beautiful airplane. Hooks G001, who I'm guessing you know.
I do. That is Grant. He actually is in our latest video. We did a little formation flying together.
Oh, rock on. He said the only thing better than the 310 is I'm guessing the Turbo 310.
Guess what he owns and flies?
Probably a Cessna 172. I'm
Yeah,
guessing.
exactly.
Oh, this is interesting. Uncle Mike says the 310 reminds me like a German Shepherd. The stance looks like always ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dig it. It is a pretty bird. It's a pretty bird.
Thank you.
What was that? By the way, we're gonna get to your content in a second, but we went right into AvGeek. We went right into AvGeek.
Yep.
Since I don't know, I've never flown a twin. I know about, rudders are important. There's the jokes about the second engine takes you to the scene of the crash. But what was that functionally like for you to train up? I mean, the mission makes total sense to me, right? You're like, okay, I need this extra redundancy here. I'm wondering if that has a little bit to do with your day job also. The preparedness, the having the right tool for the job type deal. And then how do you go from that mission and say like, okay, like that's a level up, right? It's a level up in skill and in time and commitment and like you mentioned, money.
Oh, yeah.
But what was that journey like? Like how to go?
Yeah. So, I don't do anything. I don't half-ass anything. I don't. And that's a curse of mine. It's a blessing of mine, but I can't do something and not go all in on it. I just can't. And so, we had the Aero and I said, I don't think this plane's going to meet our mission. So I started looking around and I found a really good deal. And by a really good deal, I mean a low selling price. And that's not always the best deal. Just let me clarify that, right? Some of us have learned that by now. I sure have. It's still a good deal, but there's a lot more money after the sale. That's the cheapest part of buying an airplane, as they say. So I started looking, I talked to a mechanic and I was like, man, what is this good? I don't know. What do you teach me what he owned a 310 and he was a trusted friend. And he goes, this is a good deal. This is a good plane. And so we got into negotiations and I worked some things out financially to figure out how we could make this happen. And we finally made it happen. And I made an offer and lo and behold, I found that one of the engines had 6 cylinders that were from an AD that needed to be replaced within the next 6 months. So I had to do a complete top overhaul if I bought this thing. Well, what do I do? I mean, that's just a more negotiation tactic for me. I'm like, yeah, how about you give me 20 grand off? And he's like, how about you go pound sand? And so we made a deal and I bought the thing and I flew up with my mechanic and a good friend of mine, my CFI I was talking about earlier, my first one. And the mechanic said he dropped the flaps and the flaps were as clean as could be. They look like just factory flaps. They were beautiful. And he goes, this is a good airplane. And I was like, okay. So we made the deal. We flew it home that day. That was the first time that was my first hour inside of a twin was when after I'd already signed, after I'd already owned it at that point. That was the first time that I sat in a twin. And I spent about, 15 hours with an instructor trying to figure this thing out and making sure I wasn't going to, I could actually, make the wheels chirp instead of making the props hurt, and crash it, and figured it out. And, here we are. We just kind of made it work out. So far, so good. Other than my Osh landing, I've not had a crash since I've owned it.
I saw the video that a testament to the manufacturing of the gear.
Yeah. Boy.
Before we talk about that, though, since you brought it up, I just want to say that's kind of interesting, as the kids say, YOLO, right? You're kind of like, I like this thing. I like the aesthetics. I like the mission. I like the function. I have no idea what I'm doing in it yet, but like I'm committed. Let's go.
It was sink or swim. I had spent, and we bought this airplane. Is that a problem if we'll just leave those numbers out. We bought the airplane at a pretty good price, and I was in it. I was flying my twin. I couldn't back out of it. I couldn't not learn this thing. I had to do it. I owned it at that point. So failure wasn't an option. I had to figure this thing out some way, somehow. So failure wasn't an option. I went in head first, and we figured this thing out, and we took it to the Bahamas last year. I don't know.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is.
How do I get you to take me to the Bahamas next year?
Well, if you understand, the way that it works is private. Pilots can't really do that.
No, I understand. Yeah, there's rules. I was just thinking maybe more like you and I could keep this going.
Yes.
Keep that going. You and me.
Yes.
Touching each other.
That's it right there. Friends for life.
A couple of thoughts. A couple of people in the chat. You probably get this one all the time. Nathan Ballard says, I didn't know Nick Offerman was the fire pilot. You probably get that all the time.
Oh, I love Nick. That's funny. I've not been called Nick. Oftentimes I'll get called Farva from Super Troopers, but not Nick. That's the first one. I love it.
That's good. All right, let's run with it. Let's see here. So Uncle Mike's asking, how's the right main gear? I don't know if you want to tell the story. You have a video up on your channel about it.
I do. I will say this. The video up on our channel looks way worse. I think the GoPro may have been loose, and it just went like this right here, and it added some great effect, and that video is doing really well for people who don't know me or whatever. They're like, oh, my gosh, this guy crashed in Oshkosh. What happened, It just the controller gave me 3 different landing spots. I'm not blaming this on the controller in any way, though, at all. This is me, and I just got task saturated, as they say, and I was I was just trying to figure out where the hell I was supposed to put the damn thing down at. Like, do you want the numbers, the purple, the yellow? And in doing so, I was very focused, and I just went first notch of flaps. And so I was a little heavy, or a little fast rather, and trying to come down, and I didn't flare, and man, it just smacked down. And thank God that was like the 3rd landing after an annual. If it's all rigged up nice and pretty, it's probably not now, but it's probably way off right now.
No,
but it was fun. We're good.
That's what it's there for. Hooks mentions wasn't the worst 310 landing this year. Ooh, burn.
Ooh, yep. Sorry for that guy. That hurt. Mean.
You're talking about the gear collapse, right? It was a gear collapse. Yeah,
he came down. And with the 310, the thing about the 310 is that they're so very sensitive to side loading, and so if you are not very straight and you're coming in on one wheel with a crosswind landing, you don't keep control of it. They're very sensitive to that torsional load, and it just they can collapse if they're especially not rigged right. In fact, the Cessna says every annual, or maybe something like, I don't know, 100 to 150, 200 hours, something, I don't know what the number is. They have to be re-rigged with all the tensions and all that sort of thing, whatever the hell happens underneath there. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But that has to be redone. It has to be redone every year at least. And that's how sensitive they are. This guy came in. I didn't see it. I just seen the aftermath. And he had a right gear collapse. And, oh, man, there's only of those 310Rs with the long nose, there's very, very few of them relatively left. And every time one goes down, it just hurts so bad. I try to be an advocate of the fleet, if you will, because I love them so much. And it hurts. That hurts for that guy too, though. I mean, can you imagine coming in Osh and having to gear up like that? I would not want to be that guy.
Everyone's watching.
Yeah,
everyone's
the whole
watching.
world's watching.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's funny too, because it's my birthday next week, and my kids bought me binoculars. They couldn't help but give me the present early. My wife and kids, they got me a nice pair of binoculars. I thought it was a very fitting gift to get when you turn 40 is binoculars. I don't know, it just felt about right. Yeah. But they were like, it's for when you watch the landings at Oshkosh, and I was thinking like that. Yeah, that would be perfect to be like, what happened? Oh. Question for you in the chat. Clayton Starwalt asks, how many hours in the twin before the check ride, the multi-check ride?
I can look at my logbook, but I would imagine that we had put together maybe, I don't know, I want to say 20, 25-ish, I think, somewhere around there. I think it was less than 20, because here's the thing. When I fly, I remember at the beginning of this, I said that I don't really do anything, half-heartedly. And so when I fly, I really want to learn my craft. I really want to be good at it. We make jokes and have fun and laugh and all that sort of thing. But at the same time, I really appreciate and respect the craft, and ultimately appreciate what this 5,680-pound beast can do to me and or my family. So I really respect what it is, and I want to learn about it. So I had already been focusing and learning and reading the POHs and all that kind of stuff. So when it got time to a check ride, that probably saved me some hours and time and all that sort of thing. So that, when I learned how to functionally fly the aircraft, I was pretty much ready to go and ready to hit this thing running. So it may not be typical, I don't know, but when I do something, I'm all in, man. I'm ready to go.
Well, and also, I mean, this is in terms of years, you're kind of early. You're kind of early in your pilot years, right? So your currency is compressed. Like you're quite current. I think you've got double the hours I do, and I had started flying. Check ride was 2012.
Yeah,
so
wow.
Just to put in perspective, right? You're everything's still really fresh. You're not having to relearn new things or unlearn old habits necessarily, right? That might be part of what helps you there too. Just keeping the fact that you fly a lot and often is going to help you too, right?
It is, and so to piggyback off of that, I'm the eternal learner, right? I love to learn. I love to actually learn things about things. And so once, I won't say mastered by any, but I just did, didn't I? No, I won't use that word to describe what I do. But once I get, let's say, proficient in something, I'm ready to learn something else. I'm ready to continue that journey into whatever it is, aviation or life or what have you, just to have some fun doing it and keep everything fresh and keep your mind sharp.
Yeah, ABL.
Always, yeah, that'd be laughing.
Always be learning.
Yes.
So okay, we've danced around a little bit. I want to show a video. You sent me a video.
Yeah.
I want to show a video because there's another thing you do. You don't do. You do what? There's another thing you do full out. What did you say? I never do anything halfway.
Half-heartedly.
You're doing this full-heartedly. This other thing.
Wow.
Right. We made it through that. I'm going to play a video. We'll be right back. I'm going to play this video so people can see this other thing you do.
Bye. You know, mate. Oh man, this is so fun. Well, I mean, I guess guess there are no other introductions needed here.
We're at Sun and Fun 2022, and this is the Fire Pilot.
Yeah, you know, we're just hanging out in Miami. We didn't know that it was the Amazon. This is our trip over to Nassau. We found our flight plan.
If the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it? If the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it? I know I would. I know I would. I know I would. Hey, Nor, if the moon was made of cheese, I know I would. We're helicopter. I think we're hypoxic.
I am. Are you serious? That's so funny.
It's the Fire Pilot. We'll see you later.
We're both cracking up here watching it.
Oh man, that's good.
So how did that start? How did you get started doing that stuff?
The fire stuff?
No,
No, the YouTube stuff.
The YouTube stuff. We haven't even touched on the fact that you're a mustachioed hero in red. But how the YouTube chat? Unless you want to talk about firefighting stuff first, they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. The firefighting was before the YouTube stuff. But to give you, this kind of goes back to way back in high school. I remember. How can I explain this without getting too many details? I overheard a conversation of somebody saying, hey, I need a videographer. I need to hire a company. And me, with my opportunistic mind, says, yeah, I can do that. I got a company people that we can do that, and that's something we can do for you. And so this is something called a rough and rowdy brawl boxing contest. Yeah. In the mountains of eastern Kentucky.
Okay, wait. This is going a way I wasn't expecting. Continue.
It was. So let's try to keep this short and sweet. I went up to this guy. I was like, "Hey, I could do this," and he's like, "Well, how much?" And I was like, "I don't know, $500 maybe. I don't know." He's like, "Deal." I was like, "Oh, now I got to figure out how to do this." I borrowed some cameras from school. I borrowed a computer. I was in high school at the time, and I made a video about this boxing contest. I'd always been interested in, AV stuff, like AV, like audio visual stuff, cameras and audio and mics and all that. That's fun, And so when the airplane started, I was like, well, I'd always followed some good people on here. The 310 pilot, Kevin and Jamie, they were a good inspiration about learning 310s and YouTube and all that kind of stuff in the aviation world. So I said, I could do that. Kevin, I've not met Kevin, but they don't do a lot of fancy anything. And I'm like, I know what YouTube really wants. They want some fancy graphics and some cool sounds. That's really what it's all about. No, not at all. And so I just started putting it together. I already had a couple of GoPros. I like to be techie. So I was like, let's marry these two things together and see what happens. That was about 3 years ago, I think. We've been doing this. And again, here we are, wherever we are.
So that was pretty early in the journey, right? You're like you're a year in-ish. You had your certificate about a year, and you're like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah, maybe it was 2 years ago. I can't remember. Maybe all of my numbers are off, to be honest. I can't really remember anything right now. Where am I? Who are you?
What is time? It was an apocalypse ago, at least.
Yeah. So yeah, it was pretty much right when we got the 310, and I think we've had the 310 for 3 years this year. So right as we got the 310, I just started doing this. It's fun to me. It's fun. The what I say in our videos is aviation is about people. And Ryan, you and I talked about this too. Everybody goes to Oshkosh, everybody goes to see the airplanes and all that. But what happens at the end of the night? Everybody gets together. The airplanes are gone, the lights are off, everybody's not in the show anymore, but everybody's together. And aviation's about people. So if I wanted to be part of this aviation anything, I wanted to bring people together. I wanted to be part of the community holistically in some way and provide some sort of value to it. And so even though I didn't realize it at first, that's what I want to do. I want to provide I want to give back. I want to encourage some mountain kid who's looking up at airplanes and said, I can never do that. So yeah, you can. Let's do it. Let's go together right now. So I didn't realize it at first, why I wanted to do this YouTube thing. But as I've sat back and asked myself that question, that's the answer that I continually get, is that it's all about the people. It's all about the community. It's all about the togetherness that all of this brings. And, again, airplanes are fast. Airplanes are awesome. Flying is amazing. Flying is something that, a small percentage of the entire world will only get to experience, and everybody else won't. But at the end of the day, it's all about people. It's all about us getting together and doing something and building a community and having or being part of an already established community. And for me, that's what it's all. That brings me immense fulfillment, great joy to bring people together.
That idea of shared experience.
Yeah.
And we have this unique thing. It's a very special thing that we've experienced. Eric Farewell, who's one of my co-announcers on the National Stoll Circuit. He's also the powered paraglider dude. He talks a little bit like he was referencing astronauts, right? Astronauts have like that overlook effect, I think is what they call it. Where it's like the new perspective from being up there. And we don't have that. Like, I've never been to the International Space Station, but like, I feel like I get that a little bit. No, I know you got up there. Yeah, they just shuttle you guys up there all the time.
I was there last week.
Just doing a quick inspection. Hey guys, just checking the smoke detectors. But just knock, knock, knock. Surprise!
Hey, buddy, open up.
But like, yeah, there's something about it, right? And I think it extends. You mentioned how lucky we are to be pilots, but I think that it also extends into every other part of it, like the av geekdom, right? Because we're still like, even if you talked about being the kid looking up, I think at the same time you were doing that, I was in a farm field in Wisconsin doing the same thing, thinking like, that's something I'll never get to do.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, like. It's like it was like, oh, like I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to do that is to join the military. Oh, guess what? Guess not, right? Like, they don't want me flying those things.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's I'm right there with you, buddy.
Go ahead.
It's for me, it's a separation of it's a separation of the life that you knew, right? That you thought that everything was ground. You had to be on the ground all your life. The very second those wheels leave the runway and you're looking at things at a vantage point that you have never seen before as an adult, okay? Going through life, doing whatever you need to do. And as an adult, seeing vantage points and then continually that changing until you reach your altitude and you look down and you're like, we're very small. I am a very small piece of this overall big puzzle of whomever or whatever you believe created it. And you realize how insignificant you can be. And the relative perspective that you gain from that is absolutely, I don't care what kind of day I'm having. I don't care what kind of week it's been. I don't care how tired I am, but that is an immense calming and it's my anti-drug, okay?
I have a question for you then. So, one, it's also my anti-drug. But two, there's this thing. I don't know how to describe it to people, but the way you describe this may be similar for you. To me, the way my brain functions, as soon as I'm like 30 feet above the ground, it feels like I'm in a completely different world. Like the two-dimensional world and the three-dimensional aviation world are two separate places. I have a hard time like relating the two together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, I'll be like, fly over my house. And I'm like, that, like, my brain's going, does not compute. These are two different places, two different experiences. I don't know. That's maybe a little bit of a weird psychology thing. It's like I feel like there's like a transition at a certain point where it's just like, boop, now you're in this weird simulation.
whatever that may be.
Right.
You know, I mean, like, it's whatever problems, whatever issues, whatever good, bad, ugly, doesn't matter. When you reach that 30 foot, like you said, when your wheels leave the runway, they're not there anymore. Everything's fine, and you're flying, and God it's painting this beautiful picture for you, and everything's great, and the earth is round, and things are fine, and it's just beautiful. How else can you explain it? And to share that with somebody who doesn't believe that they could ever do it, despite you knowing that they could, is, I think, as an aviation community, we have an obligation to do that in some ways, to others who are not in our group, in our community, whatever you want to say. I think we have an obligation to do that, and we have to be ambassadors for aviation because we know how good it is. We know how awesome it is, and you got to share that with others.
And I think most people do. I think not everyone does it the way we do it. But I think most people do. Like, I'm looking in the chat. I see a lot of people that would... Sorry, I got distracted by the chat. I'm going to address that in a second. Yeah. Like I've seen a lot of people in the chat who are people who, like, for instance, when I'm going through a dry spell, they'll call me up and say, dude, I noticed you haven't flown in a while. Yeah. Like, we're going. Like, clear your schedule. We're going. We're going to make sure we do this. Sorry. So, a couple things. Hook says, I would think if you grew up near Oshkosh, you would think almost everyone is a pilot. Nope. A lot of people are annoyed by Oshkosh in Wisconsin. But a lot of people really love it because it brings a lot of money to the economy, like big time dollars. So thank you if you were at Oshkosh. Thanks for, I don't know what you paid for or something. Just Plain Silly says, whoa, Eric Johnson and I are watching this at a bar. Cool. Show this to the bartender and see how impressed they are that that this is happening. You're watching.
Just show her this. Just, hey there. I'll have an old fashioned, please. Thank you.
Oh, and since I'm from Wisconsin,
I guarantee
I will have a brandy old fashioned for me, please.
Ooh, never done that.
Oh, next time you're in Wisconsin, man, change your life. Richard Key says, we call that compartmentalization. When you're flying, nothing else matters.
That may not be a healthy word, though. I don't know that. Because that's what we do in the fire service. It's like, put it in a box. You have your feelings over here. You put them over there. You don't feel anything, okay? Everything's fine.
You're a life-saving robot.
Yes.
70 Papa saying, what? The Earth is round? They have to ban you also. All right. So now people are gonna stop watching and they're all gonna head to that bar that Just Plain Silly's at. So okay, sorry, just get distracted by some of that. So people in the chat have been asking, and bet you get this all the time. They're all asking about earlier they were asking about aerial firefighting.
Yeah.
It's probably a thing that gets confused. Like, you are not an aerial firefighter. You were just like you sent me these pictures. You're just like a bona fide sexy firefighter.
That's what I do. Yeah, so it's a...
Oh, there's you on the beach. That's different.
That's right. I don't know.
No, it's in here somewhere. There. Oh, Sudsy.
Oh, that's a close up.
I'm sorry. It's very close. Here, I'll shrink it down. Real pro. Hang on. We got to get the helmet in there.
Of course.
Lieutenant.
Yeah. So I'm not an aerial firefighter. I don't. That's not my deal. I'm a fireman and a pilot. Just, you can finish it, Bryon. Not at the same time. No, truly. So I'm a career firefighter. Like tomorrow morning, I'll go to work at 7 a.m. and I will work until, I don't even know what day tomorrow is. I will work until Friday morning at 7 a.m. and I'll have 2 days off. I'll have Friday and Saturday off, and I'll go back to work Sunday, work Monday, Tuesday, etc. Work 1 and off 2. And I also fly airplanes, not at the same time. it is a marketing dilemma I think I have with the fire pilot name, that people think I'm a firefighting pilot. Maybe one day, I don't know. Maybe that's on the agenda.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, that seems super dope.
Yeah, it does. There's actually a way to fly 310s, and for the Division of Forestry in Kentucky, and be a spotter essentially for forest fires. That is an option. Maybe one day. I don't know. I'm just having a lot of fun right now, and I don't know that I want to be under somebody's command to, go do this at this time right now. Hurry. That kind of takes the fun out of it. At least it would for right now.
I think you got a lot of that at your day job. A lot of like, go do this very serious thing exactly perfectly.
Yeah.
And it would be a drag maybe to have to do that in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, this is for fun. This is for family. This is for fun, for community, for all of that. If I'm spending 24 hours doing like serious stuff, ish on paper, serious, and I come home and do, more serious stuff, I never get a chance to decompress. And,
sure,
everybody's got to have a little bit of that.
Got a little fun once in a while, which is why you have a goofy YouTube channel.
That's right.
Also, TikTok, great on TikTok. I actually found you on TikTok. We're on YouTube right now, so that's why we led with YouTube. But very funny on TikTok. So that's another thing you guys should check the fire pilot out on TikTok. Ticky Tackies.
Ticky Tacks. Yeah, that's a place where you can go and you can throw anything you want at the wall, and you're not it doesn't penalize you. You just put a bunch of garbage up just for fun, and it's just okay, and some of it sticks and some of it doesn't, but that's okay too. The TikTok is also, it's just part of bringing people into this, whatever we are,
the brand,
the
fire pilot brand. Some folks in the chat, Sarah Clucky finally showed up. Hey, Clucky, way to be on
Clucky?
Time. She's great, though. Canyon K wondering, or suggesting, the Fire Pilot 310 needs a smoke system.
So I would be down for that. I don't know anything about smoke systems or aerial acrobatics or STOL stuff, all that fancy, cool stuff that's just for fun, really. I don't know anything about that. I don't even know how it works. But if we can find a way to make it happen, let's try it out. I don't care. Sounds fun.
I think because it's certificated, you need like a STC, but someone probably made one for the 310. Gotta be.
I think there isn't a Baron.
Gary Smith has a good question. He says, do you think your son will have the aviation bug?
Gary, that's a good question. My son is our son, my wife and I's son, I don't like to say my. She always gets on to me for that. Our son.
when you were pregnant, right?
Yeah, right. So he's at the age where anything that dad likes, he does not like. Caveat. I think he does enjoy getting up there, flying. I've let him take the yoke a couple times. And, we've put a little bit of negative G on him sometimes, just kind of put the nose over a little bit. And seeing his face light up and is smiling and his eyes get real big is fun. I think he enjoys it. Right now, at the age of 15, he's interested in completely different things than anything old dad is interested in. So maybe one day, I hope so. That'd be fun, because there will be a day where, all of us won't be able to fly anymore. And maybe, I'll be able to have somebody around who can still take me up and fly me around. That would be fun. Maybe not. We'll see.
By the time you're not able to fly anymore, you can just have a robot do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're right. You're probably right. Just plug it in and say, fly me, you jester.
Pressure is off your son. You just need to worry about it. You just be like, Oh, Dad, I'll send the Sky Uber to get you. I'll pay the extra $10 for the loops. Just Plain Silly. So it's funny. Just Plain Silly said he can't actually hear what we're talking about because he's in the bar. So he's just hurling questions. There's one about, do you fight fires while you're flying? We already answered that. So when you come back and watch this later, I hope you feel guilty for not paying attention and disrupting the stream. Gary says that your son will come around.
Yeah, I know that. 15-year-old teenage boys are fun. They're great.
You know what's going to happen is I have my oldest daughter is 7, so I'm not there yet. I'm not where you're at. But
just wait.
But what I was thinking is that would be the opportune time to start showing how cool aviation is. It's like, do you guys want to go to this secret place you can only get to by airplane with you and your friends?
Yeah.
And be the coolest kid?
Yeah. Yeah.
We could do that.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard, but how do you do that? Even a little bit younger than 15, how do you do that and not just sound like a complete asshole? Like, what'd you do this weekend? Me and my dad and my mom, we flew down to Florida. Oh, really? Yeah, was it a big plane? Well, it's our plane, but my dad flew me. There's no way you could say that without being completely just I'm better than you.
This is a problem. This channel, right? I'll be on conference calls, and my business partners, you guys who have been fans of the channel for a long time know Lynne, my business partner Lynne. She's so supportive of this, and she'll be like, "Oh yeah, what did you do, Ryan?" He was up at Oshkosh, the big air venture, and he was doing some announcing and some interviewing of people, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool, yeah." So why would you do that though? And she's like, "Oh, he's a pilot, he's got a plane," and they're like, "Oh, okay, not paying you the rate because you're fine." And it's like, no, that.
That's not what this is.
It's so hard. It's so hard. It's so expensive. Cut me some slack.
Please pay me. I need to pay my fuel bill this month, please.
Yeah, right. Please. It's they totally they all think we're douchebags. But that's okay. Because they should come hang out with us and they'd realize they were wrong. Here's a random I don't know. Josh Sinclair wants to know, what kind of fire extinguisher do you have in the plane? Because apparently
is that required? I don't have one. If there's gonna be a fire in the airplane, I'll just put it out. I was stop, fire! You don't go there. Just get out of here.
I want to ask you a question that maybe people ask you a lot. I wanted to ask you about: do you think, within your either your personality or is there some part of you that's so? We were talking before the show. My dad's was a firefighter, retired firefighter. He was also a pilot. And I'm starting to wonder if there's something about those two things that make them similar in some way. And I didn't ever serve in the fire service, but for you, is there a connection?
Yes. I've thought about this because as I started this, I started finding more and more and more of us, people who are in public safety, police and firemen, who also have a heavy interest or are pilots and are in aviation. So I started questioning, why is this? What is the connection? Just this exact same thing that you're asking. Here's what I come up with. In the fire service, we're all sort of let's say most of us are high functioning, probably ADHD, squirrel kind of people, right? All of us.
You just described my dad. Yep.
Yeah. Right. Okay. But, and probably I would imagine your dad had a ton of projects and a ton of interests, and he wants to do a little bit of everything. And all of us in the fire service are probably very similar. Okay.
Yep.
when the bell rings, when somebody places a call and they say, I need help, and when the bell rings and you get sent somewhere, everything that you are that's running through your mind, all the problems that you're working on, all the unfinished projects at home that you're thinking about, all of those things are gone. You know that you now have a duty and a requirement to focus on whatever it is whatever it is the call is, how to get there safely. What am I going to do when I get there? When I get there, now I got to do all this stuff. Who, what, where. I've got to focus on what I'm doing in front of me right now, and I can't focus on anything else. If not, somebody's going to get hurt, or you're going to get hurt, or worse. Think about how that transfers over to aviation. When you throttle up and the wheels leave the ground, you better not be thinking about something on the ground. You're going to get yourself hurt. You'll be behind the airplane. So the connection is that when you're doing both of those, our brains are forced to focus on what's in front of you, so much to the fact that it's almost a calming effect that you are able to put all that together to do what's in front of you that you're required to do, that otherwise your brain would convince you that you don't have to do something and you just continue on about your way. That is the best I got. I don't know if that's right. I don't know if it's accurate, but to me, I think that's what it is.
I'd buy it. I'd 100% buy it. No, because this is the thing. Like, that part of it, for me, is the most important part. Like, I mean, obviously there's like the freedom and the adventure and there's a little bit of adrenaline sometimes, and like there's a lot other cool stuff with it. And the community, like we talked about before, like second to none, right?
Yep.
But the like where I get the most like psychological value is what you just described.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Versus like things are busy, I'm stressed, boom, go zone out, right? It's actually very interesting. I get a lesser effect, but sort of similar with video games. It's not the same, but a little bit. Like there's a little bit of that. And when I work on film sets, those days, it's actually very interesting. My partner, Lynne, again, we make TV commercials. We're talking about how I was off in a farm field in Missouri for 5 days, and I came back from doing 12 to 15-hour days, 90-degree weather, getting covered in horse manure, and with tractors. But we were filming tractors with drones and cinema cameras. All this stuff is a lot of moving parts, a lot of safety stuff. Right, you don't want to get squashed or whatever. And I came back refreshed, and she was back at the office going like, "This sucks." Right? Yeah. Even though it was like super hard work for me, like the ability to like focus in. I know it's not the same as. Although my dad did show up on a film set once, and he said, "Oh, this is just like a fire. Like those guys went there, and those guys went there, and there's some hierarchy stuff that's similar."
Yeah, there is. It's all psychological. That people who have high functioning brains that they make good pilots because they require a tremendous amount of things to pay attention to. But the problem is we can't oftentimes turn it off unless we find something that focuses that and allows us to focus on that so that other things just don't seep in. Maybe that's, I don't know. I'm a psychologist as well. I didn't want to say that, but
I would just like to point out that by way of I don't know the word I'm looking for. You basically just said that I have a high functioning brain. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it. Check 6 Aviation says, as a former EMT, I can totally relate.
Yeah.
And then Todd Johnson also mentions that he's not sure it's all public safety, specifically firefighters plan and have a checklist. There's some similarities there as well, maybe.
I
don't know, Todd. You know what you're talking about, Todd.
I have to think about that one. I don't know.
Well, I think the one thing is there maybe is some, what he's pointing out, there's some similarities with like to safely operate an aircraft, to safely operate a apparatus. Like there's like a You rehearse, you train.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's some similarities there too. I see that.
I get it. I like that.
Dude, it's already been an hour. We've been just talking airplanes for like zoop. It's gone.
I know, right?
Do you, will you play a game at the end of the show? Are you up to playing a game with me?
I love games.
The game called Short Final. In Short Final, if you're new here, is a game where we got a minute on the clock. We ask our friend the fire pilot a bunch of questions, and he can answer them. There's no points, or all the points is up to him, and no wrong answers, or all wrong answers. It's up to you also, and we'll just see what happens. Are you up for it? I'm just gonna ask you a bunch of random airplane questions. Maybe throw a firefighter thing in there too. And then, folks, like after that, if you have any burning, see what I did there? Burning questions for the fire pilot, throw them in the chat. You'll get one last chance. All right, let me hit some buttons over here. Got to do this button. Oh, that seems loud this time. All right, my friend, the fire pilot. I can't hit the button to start the timer. Here we go. All right, first, everyone always wants to know, north up or track up?
Track up, no doubt.
Oh, it's been a lot of north ups lately. There you go.
No.
All right. Favorite airport you've ever landed at?
We love Destin. Destin is so amazingly beautiful.
I'm going to throw a firefighting one. Favorite firefighting tool?
The Halligan. It will do anything you want it to do. I knew you were going to
say the Halligan. I knew you were going to say the Halligan. All right. No one knows what that is. Google it later. What about favorite warbird?
I don't know anything about warbirds.
All right. Great. What's the next plane after the multi? What's the next thing you're doing?
Phenom.
Okay. All right. Glad we have goals. What about the favorite passenger you've ever had?
When you take somebody up for the first time. My mom, not in the twin, but in my Aero, my mom, she did it. I never thought she would. Gotta love that.
That is awesome. Look, you won or lost. It's up to you. I think you won.
Negative 1 billion points.
No, I think that was a million billion points.
Well, okay, I'll take it. I'll take them. I'll take half of them. Fine.
Yeah, take all of them. Clayton says he landed at Destin many times. See, everyone knows. And I missed this one from Canyon. Canyon said, please answer all the questions with the silly voice.
Well, I mean...
It's too late. Sorry,
It's too late.
Can't do that. You come on the show again sometime, and we will do that again.
If the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it? I know I would.
I think I would. I think I would. So... Sorry, it's cracking me up, man. It's been so awesome to get to know you tonight and to get to know you at Osh, man. It was so fun, and I hope we can do it again next year.
Yeah, this is fun. Like I said, it's all about the community. It's all about getting to know people and hanging out with people, and I got to meet you. I was told, maybe you were, I'm not sure, that we're the same soul. Just internally.
That's a lot of pressure.
I know, right?
For a first meeting.
Somebody's like, "Oh, you guys are like the same inside person. You're just fun to be around and hanging out." So yeah, it's.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll take it. Yeah, man. No, it's been. Yeah, I think there's some similarities there. We got a lot, and yeah, I dig it. I dig what you're doing. I love all the content you're making, and it's cool to see something different. Right, like the 310 stuff's different. The content you're making is different. I think you got a couple. I think Zach Sherman subscribed, so there you go. You got one from me.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. I mean, I'll take each and every one. Yeah.
Before we sign off, where should people find you? Where should they find your stuff?
So I mean, here on YouTube, just look for The Fire Pilot. YouTube.com/The Fire Pilot. We're over on TikTok, just The Fire Pilot. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, all under The Fire Pilot. You can, just search in The Fire Pilot. You'll probably find me, or you'll find the AOPA article that says how to be a fire pilot, which is very funny. But nonetheless, if you search on your favorite social media app, wherever you're at, we're at the Firepilot.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for jumping on the show tonight. Everyone go check out all the Firepilot everything. Ken Dodson, this is a good comment to close with. Ken Dodson says, the only thing cooler than a firefighter is a firefighter pilot.
Much appreciation, Mr. Ken. I appreciate that. I don't know what we're doing to all of you. I don't know what we're doing, but we're having fun at it, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you come along with us. So whatever it is, let's have some fun.
Love it. Let's have some fun. All right, everyone, we'll see you next week. Fly safe, and thanks again, man. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.